We've also got our eye on that airline, which is now in deep trouble, Spicejet, losing more than 9.5% on the stock for the second day running. The centre has given the airline a final chance to survive and has asked Spicejet to raise funds within the next 10 days or potentially face closure. The airline immediately requires cash to the tune of about 1,400 crore rupees. We've got you some 360-degree analysis. First up, let's go across to Sonia. She tracks the sector and has more on the financial trouble that Spicejet is in. Sonia, run us through the numbers.
Well, you know, Menaka, all hell broke loose when the DGCA went ahead and stopped the airline from going ahead with advance bookings. Now, remember, Spicejet has been sitting on losses for the last many years. In fact, as of the quarter gone by, it's posted a loss of 300 crores. In fact, the total liabilities of the company exceed the total assets by 1,460 crores. So currently, its net worth is about 1,450 crores, but the accumulated losses are close to about 3,000 crores.
Just one second. We were expecting some news, and that's a big breaking news. Government has allowed Spicejet to book beyond 30 days till March 31, 2015. That was
this should
one
ease
issue.
up its cash crunch to some extent, right?
Yes,
because this is where the big cash crunch
because
came
this really
from.
was the big body blow to look at that recovery on Spicejet.
Sets aside fear that it could close out any time now, because so clearly that also it sets some kind of...
No, I don't think that it does away with that fear altogether. The fact is that yes, this will help it temporarily sort of tide over the cash shortfall that it's facing, but I don't think the fact that the accumulated losses are so large in nature that most of its net worth has been wiped out, as Sonia was just sort of...
my worry is who would want to book right now with Spicejet after having seen, so
yes,
much.
That's the other thing, right? How many people will come forth and say, having seen all these cancellations, we're still willing to buy a ticket of January or February or March, when you know that it might get cancelled or you don't know what the fate of the airline will be. Sonia, get back to the numbers, because that will give us a sense of whether this partial relief will mean much to the airline in the medium term at least.
Well, you know, before that, Menka, I just want to make one comment on what the government has done. If there's anyone responsible for the eventual closure of Spicejet, if it happens, it's the government itself. Because, you know, if you can't really push a company to the brink of bankruptcy and then ask why are you becoming bankrupt. You remember the government has not only banned the advance bookings, but you know, there are so many other things. The entire cost environment for the aviation sector is so high. Just to give you an example, Spicejet does about 1,500 crores of revenues every quarter, out of which 1,200 crores of that revenues goes into airport charges, maintenance charges, ATF fuel charges, and the government has failed to convince the states to reduce the ATF costs. So on account of this, I mean, the government is just pushing every airline company to just go into closure. In any case, to give you the numbers for Spicejet...
and then it subsidizes one airline, large airline company, and which can operate without any...
Let's only finish the numbers, because this is not a fair argument to make entirely. I would disagree with some points of this. But Sonia, go ahead.
But go ahead, yes.
Sure. So just to give you the numbers, like I said, record losses in FY14, which were 5 times higher than FY13. In fact, 1,000 crores of losses, it was compared to just 190 crores in FY13. Now, the Center of Asia Pacific Aviation says that Spicejet immediately needs 1,500 crores to turn around. They have to pay 500 crores of taxes to the government. They have to pay an immediate sum of 200 crores to the Airport Authority of India, or else they'll be put on cash and carry, which is an even bigger hurdle for them. So the numbers for Spicejet look extremely debilitating. But if you compare the debt that they have, currently Spicejet is sitting on about 1,500 crores of debt. That compares to about 12,000 crores that you know, someone like Jet Airways has. So, and it's not that Spicejet is a badly managed company. If you look at its market share, it's 20%. If you look at the load factors, they are close to about 86%. It's just these government-related problems because of which it has been suffering quite a bit.
All right, thanks very much for that, Sonia. Let's go across to Shireen. She's got one eye on the ground with regards to what the government has been doing. Shireen, we just have news coming in that some partial relief has been offered for Spicejet. It can now continue to book tickets in advance all the way up to March next year. You know, is this the only relief the government is going to offer the airline?
Well, it's a tough situation as far as the government is concerned, Menka, because, we got an indication of this because yesterday there was a meeting that went on to almost 9 p.m. between officials of Spicejet as well as various government officials. And the Minister of Civil Aviation, Minister of State for Civil Aviation had come out of that meeting and said that officials of the Prime Minister's office, the Finance Ministry and the Oil Ministry would consult with each other and try and figure out a way to not inconvenience passengers further. He said a decision would be taken which would be in the best interest of passengers. And then the Spicejet CEO Sanjeev Kapoor had actually tweeted saying that we're not seeking a bailout, but what we had met the DGCA about was to discuss the financial impact of the 30-day booking limit on the airline. So that gave us an indication that this could be something that was expected to have happened today. The other thing that the government can do, and this has been the speculation for the last 24 hours, is that as far as OMCs, oil marketing companies, are concerned, HPCL had already stopped supplying fuel to Spicejet. IOC had put them on cash and carry. Perhaps there could be some relief there. Perhaps there could be some relief as far as dues paid to AAI are concerned, which amount to about 200 crore rupees. Again, there was talk of that being moved to cash and carry. So that's really what the government can do. But I also want to, to chip in on the argument that Sonia was making. I think it's a bit unfair to say that, all of Spicejet's problems are on account.
I would agree with you entirely,
I don't
if an airline's been running on losses for as long as Spicejet has been, it is the government's incumbent responsibility to stop advance bookings. If you got a ticket today and in February the airline shut down and your ticket was non-refundable, what would you do?
No, I think the point that Sonia is making is this is an industry that's obviously...
Yeah, but the ATF problem we all know. It's not a low-cost industry.
Yeah, it's not low-cost industry.
So we've been through that debate. We've been through that debate.
I think the government has to come and say, we've got a plan for this airline, for the airline industry, or...
I would agree with you that policy making has been flawed all through in the aviation sector.
That is the point that Sonia
But today's problem...
But you have Indigo in the same industry center which is making so much money, at the end of the day.
Well, we don't really know, let's not go there. We don't have full details. But let's throw this debate open to some experts who actually look at the aviation industry very closely. We've got Kapil Kaul of the Center for Asia Pacific Aviation now joining us on the phone line, as well as Denzel Keylor, former advisor to the DGCA. Kapil, if I can come to you first, this extension of the 30-day limit now all the way up to March for Spicejet is going to come in as relief, but only temporary relief?
Well, frankly, at this stage, a lot of damage has already happened, especially with respect to customer confidence. And more important, that almost yesterday's declaration that there's no funds coming from the promoters will further sort of deteriorate the situation. So whilst you may term this as positive, that the forward, relaxation on the forward bookings as positive, but I'm not very sure that it will now have a significant a positive play for Spicejet, because my own sense is that the customer confidence is so low, and I don't think it will matter much. And second, coming to the just actual operations, if you don't have a stable operations, I don't think a forward booking would make any sense. And my sense is that if you don't put in large amount of capital right now, the operations would deteriorate further. And even if you get some bit of relief from airport authority or oil marketing companies, but the leasing companies are going to just basically aggressively pursue repossession. So that will further shrink the operation.
And I think their aircraft is the collateral for almost all of their debt, so to speak. Where is the capital going to come in from, Kapil? Where is the capital going to come in from?
Frankly, if the promoters don't put in money, I think for me it's a closed and shut case.
Well, the promoters seem to have put their hands up, saying we can't keep funding this loss-making operation.
There's nothing that you can expect anything.
Is there a market at all? Are there any buyers that might be looking at some sort of distress purchase?
Stage 2, not at the stage first. Stage first, the promoter makes a bold commitment, puts in some money.
Yeah, but stage first or stage 1 has come and gone now, Kapil, as you've pointed out. So do you think that there is potential for this airline to be sold to someone who does have the money?
No, not at the present moment. First, the promoters need to come in and make the operation stabilize, repair the damage.
But they're not likely to do that, Kapil. So, I mean, why are we holding on to that expectation?
If they're not doing it, frankly, Menka, there's nothing that anything can expect. It's just a closed case for me.
Closed case, as in you're saying that no buyers available, so this airline will shut down. Is that your expectation?
I don't think there will be any buyer given the given the deterioration that has happened in their operations over the last couple of weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, and given the very low customer confidence that are there. And more important, it will get highlighted because they don't have the ability to manage the refund claims. That is going to be a very huge refund claims because they have these fire sales going up to October 15, maybe a couple of million passengers. So my own sense is that if the promoters are putting their hands up, there is nothing forward that you can look forward from this airline.
Denzel Keylor, you've been former advisor to the DGCA. What do you think the government can do, if it should do anything at all, to help this airline tide over these bad times?
See, the only way to recover the airline is to make a massive induction of funds like they did in Indian Airlines earlier. And unless this is done, there's no way that this airline can recover, because even if it starts operating now, the profits that they earn will not even be enough to pay for the loan they're taking. So they're only going to extend this agony, as all this happened in Kingfisher and as it happened in originally Indian Airlines.
Okay. Mr. Keylor, why should the government infuse money into Spicejet?
That is a separate issue. We are saying if the question was if the government does something.
Okay.
Of course, the government should not do anything. This airline has to close down. But if the government does something or somebody wants to do something, it has to be a massive induction of funds. Because the airline, as it stands, even if it's given a year or 2 years, its profitability will be so low it cannot pay for the loans. But
Mr.
beyond
Keylor,
this, I just want to say something.
Yeah, so sir, before you get into that, just one quick question on, is there any chance that this airline might find a buyer? I mean, it does seem at this point that the promoters are unwilling to put in more money, or may don't have more money, or I don't know what the scene is, but they're not keen to continue to fund this airline. Where are they going to get this money from?
To be honest with you, he's the only, between Spicejet and the imminent closure is the promoter. If he puts his hands up, there is no game. For me, it's a closed case.
No, I get that. I'm trying to put this question to Mr. Keylor just to see if he has a different opinion from you, Kapil.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Keylor?
Yes.
Where will the money come from?
The money will have to go. I mean, nobody is going to invest in the airline because we've had enough experience of airlines reaching this stage and not able to recover. So there's going to be no investment from the public. But if the government decides to intervene, as it appears to be doing, which it's never done before, it will be a temporary thing, and I cannot understand how they're going to be able to invest in this airline and at the same time recover the money. And they're not going to make a
I don't think there is any indication from the government that they're likely to invest, sir. The only relief they seem to have offered as of now is to allow for advance bookings to continue.
Then it's curtains down. They should cut their losses and get out.
All right. So bad news for City Union Bank, because that has a 200
Yeah,
crore
but before that, let's go across to
yeah.
Sindhu Bhattacharya. She's been at that government press meeting on Spicejet. Sindhu, what more do we have besides that partial relief that they've extended to Spicejet?
So they've allowed Spicejet to start advance bookings till March 2015, which is a huge relief for the airline because that gets it the much needed cash. The airline's booking had been suspended sometime earlier this month by DGCA, which was concerned about its financial health. Now that the government has already given it 10 days to either gather funds or come up with a concrete investment plan, this latest move by the DGCA, which happened just at about 2:30, is going to surely help the airline. Official sources also tell us that there is not much worry for the airline. I don't know why they're saying that, because they say the dues to banks are only 300 crore. They say the dues to oil companies are only 14 crore, and this is in no way in the same situation as Kingfisher. So from all available indications, I think the government is very keen that this airline does not go down. Now it owes Airports Authority of India and other airports put together 280 crore rupees. Airports Authority alone is 200 crore. So from our understanding, unless funds can be managed in the next 10 days, the deadline that the airline itself has asked for, one doesn't know whether government will infuse any funds or not. Our sources tell us the government has no intention of infusing any funds in the airline. Neither is it willing to stand guarantee to any loan that the airline might raise. So one doesn't know if in 10 days there will be some magic wand where promoters or a new investor will come in, or why Spicejet wants 10 days to tie up funds, but that's what they've told the government. Back to you.
Kapil, how much money do they need?
Our assessment we did assessment in March 14, it was about $250 million. I see the base case of minimum $350 million, keeping in mind that quarter 3 and quarter 4 are going to be hugely loss-making. So I see a $350 million minimum requirement, but it could be staged in the sense that about 150 to 175 million upfront now, and maybe after a couple of weeks, a few weeks, another tranche of about 150, 175. So you need a base case of about $350 million, factoring in very large quarter 3 and quarter 4 loss.
Okay, a quick 30-second last question, Kapil. Can we afford to have another airline shut down in this country right now?
It will be unfortunate if it shuts down, but frankly, all the argument that the government is going to support is not logical. But yes, I think this decision to allow them the forward booking, the restriction in the very first place shouldn't have happened. I think I was surprised that they took that decision and almost crippled the airline. And now just giving them a relief, it's not a relief at all. I thought the decision in the first place was extremely misplaced. I was actually surprised with the decision they took, and I'm equally surprised now because the conditions have deteriorated for them to now give the partial relief. So the whole challenge with Spicejet largely is driven by what you call the decision to cancel their forward booking.
All right, we got that. Gentlemen, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you. We're out of time. It does look like it's difficult days for Spicejet on the brink at this point in time. Thank you very much for your comments.